Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another SLG Meetup. Your host Alvaro to bring you another successful and interesting guest. Today we have with us Nicolas Arace. He is a successful real estate agent located in Las Vegas who has been elevating his business through social media by getting lots of his property tours viral. So he's gonna share with us the sauce on how he has been able to leverage social media and building his brand to attract new leads and elevate the business. What's up, Nick? How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, absolutely. Welcome to our SLG meetups all the way from Las Vegas.
Yes, yes. Pleasure to be here.
How are things over there, my friend?
Things are going good in Vegas. I mean, everyone is kind of coming here and where you are too in Miami. So it's one of those focal points where people are going to. People are obviously leaving everywhere and they're going somewhere, and Vegas happens to be one of those places. So thankful to be in this marketplace.
Yeah, you're definitely showing the dream. You're not just showcasing properties, you're showcasing the lifestyle. And I love it because I actually came across one of your viral videos, and that's how I ended up seeing your profile. And I was like, huh, these properties are very nice. So
Oh, thank you.
you're showing not just the real estate, but the magic behind the real estate. So tell me,
Right.
how did you get started and how did you actually got into building this successful brand online?
Yeah, so I kind of got into it maybe like 4 years ago. I started just filming when I was going into houses and stuff. I didn't necessarily start at the luxury level. I was just kind of thinking of creative ways to get my name out there other than, the typical traditional ways to be different.
Hmm.
So they weren't the best videos at first, of course, and I actually started with YouTube at first, which I still do that as well for long form. But I was just like, let me put this out there and see what happens. And I had one that went not viral, but it got more likes than usual, maybe 100 likes at the time. And I thought that was so good and so many likes. It was this bathroom. So I just started putting stuff out like 2 or 3 times a day just to see what happens. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. I would see these bigger listings and I would just ask the listing agents, hey, can I come in and promote your listing in hopes to bring you a buyer? And that was kind of my in to get into these properties to showcase and then, generate buyers for them from there. And that's just kind of how then it led into the luxury scene of all these high-end, multi-million
Hmm.
dollar, tens of millions of dollars. And that's kind of all I do now.
I like that story because a lot of people that are trying to tap into the luxury real estate market, they feel intimidated or they don't
Right.
even know how to get in there. They're like, well, yeah, but I don't know people in that segment and I don't know this and that. And you were just trying to add value to those brokers that had
Yep.
those listings
100%.
by doing something that not necessarily you were the best at because you were starting at a creative angle, right, of
Yeah.
creating these
Yeah.
videos, but everybody can get started. And I think that what you're saying here is that consistency is the name of the game. It's about
Yep.
posting,
Definitely.
keep getting better, learning from what you've done, seeing what other people like, and that way you can start becoming a little bit more narrowed into what it's working. And now look at you, you're getting videos that get millions and millions of views, which
Yeah,
is fantastic.
it's all about the consistency for sure. Because some people, I feel like they'll just post maybe a couple videos and they don't do good, and they kind of get discouraged about it. But like the videos I was posting at first, I'm sure you could find them way back. They weren't by any means good, but it's the consistency, and over time it starts to kind of mold into that end product. So that's definitely super important to just keep going at it, just find new ways to get innovative that stand out with the content, and of course just sticking with it. And there's no real other
Mhm.
secret sauce other than that of just having good content and just being consistent and not giving up on it.
So when a lot of people feel that resistance, right? Because some people either don't have the budget or don't want to invest in the right production, is it important the quality of it, or it's more important the, I will say, the story behind it or the information behind it? Like, what would you suggest for anybody that just wants to get started? Like, hey, I have been doing real estate, I'm not doing it good enough online. How can I get started?
I mean, honestly, I just use my iPhone now. I don't use camera equipment or anything. I use a gimbal that's maybe $100 and my iPhone 14. So in terms of production, you don't need a whole lot to get started. You can literally use your cell phone today as long as, just clean the camera so it's not all, cloudy when you're recording. And you could start doing this literally today in your, local marketplace. So everyone
Hmm.
thinks, you need this huge camera setup, these, industrial commercial grade stuff, but it's simple nowadays, thankfully in the day and age that we live in, to just pull out your cell phone, throw it in 4K, and then,
There you have it.
just finding the right camera angle from there is really all you need. So in terms of starting, it's super simple.
So how do you overcome the brokers that don't want to open the doors for you to film? Because that's one of the things that I get across a lot when people tell me, yeah, Alvaro, but I don't have a brand or a name where other brokers want to open the doors for me to go and
Mm.
film. So how did you overcome those no's
I
at first?
would say just keep sending out those cold emails. And within the volume, you're obviously going to get some people that say yes. If you send 20, 50 emails of these properties, you get maybe one or two that say yes. Now that's kind of you're in to start building that portfolio. And I mean, people still tell me no nowadays. There's a handful of people in town that just don't allow it. So I think it's just doing it in a lot of volume, seeing who does say yes, and then start building your portfolio from there. Maybe you have to start at a little bit lower of a price range just to prove a point that you have good video XYZ, and then from there you could kind of slowly build it up. Because at
Hmm.
first, not all of the ones I was doing, like I said, were $20 million or $15 million. Some were 700,000, a million. They were new home builds because those are super easy access. You just have to go in and kind of say, I'm filming for clients, or I'm gonna send this out online, and usually they are pretty transparent with letting you film.
Hmm.
And then from there, you could just kind of start slowly elevating, sending that portfolio out to these other listing agents that maybe said no before. I've had, a handful that's had said no, then a couple months later, it's still on the market. And I'm like, hey, it's still on the market. Let me
Exactly.
see. Let's boost it. I'm not charging you to come in. It's completely, free service in exchange for me just trying to bring you a buyer. So, it makes sense. Why wouldn't it?
Hmm. I mean, it makes sense, and I like that approach. I think that's what also allows people to get into that market without having to get crazy about doing all sorts of things. So that's a good way of penetrate the luxury segment. Now,
Yeah.
what I will say is that once you've not made it, but once you've gotten into the rhythm of staying consistent at doing these videos and building your craft, how do you keep elevating your brand? Because one thing is to have nice videos, but another thing is to build your brand. I see that you have built a great personal brand. So, what would you suggest for somebody that is starting to create more content to at the same time focus on building your personal brand?
Yeah, I would say obviously keep doing your regular content. Maybe try talking in those videos. Like I have some where I'm talking. I have the YouTube where they're 15, 20-minute walkthrough videos. I feel like that builds more brand on a separate platform with another audience, and then those will kind of cross pollinate. But I would say more so on like the Instagram side, talk more into the videos, hop on your stories more, show more of your day-to-day life, whether you're, out eating somewhere or at the gym, stuff like that. I feel like builds the storyline behind
Mm-hmm.
not just your real estate, but also you as the agent or person, where people then kind of want to follow where you're going. So certain hobbies and stuff that I do too, I like to post on there, whatever I'm doing, and then people also follow those separate storylines. And I
Yeah,
feel like that helps build the brand and shows more of you and not just the big houses where you're not in them. So I think that's
100%.
that's kind of important too, and just kind of tweaking those things from there because obviously everyone's going to be a little bit different. So taking what this person does, and then kind of making it your own in your own way.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. I think that's very important these days, especially when everybody can post luxury real estate.
why
Yeah,
will somebody want to work with you? We're in the people's business, right? So people at the
right.
end of the day want to work with people they want to work with. But sometimes, hey, it might be that element of who you are as a person and your hobbies or your lifestyle that might pull the trigger for somebody to want to work with you because they connect on that level. So I
Yep,
think
exactly.
that's very important. And also you'll have fun while you're starting to build
Yeah,
your brand to keep on adding those elements.
exactly.
Now tell me, what's been the craziest listing you've filmed?
The craziest listing I filmed. Oh man, there's been a lot of them. I would say one of the most recent ones we did a couple weeks ago. The guys, me and my team, it was about $18 million up here in McDonald Highlands in Vegas. It had like a two-story garage, uh, huge like motor court area. It was about $18 million. I mean, that one was probably up there. And I would say another one was about 34 million.
Mm,
And that one, I don't have long form on that one. There's a lot of short form I have on here, but it's the most expensive listing here in Vegas right now. A lot of other creators have been there and stuff, but that's probably one of the other craziest ones. Just because like the view, the size, it's the Blue Heron build. If you heard of Blue Heron, so they kind of go all out with their builds. So I'd say probably one of those two,
mm-hmm.
just because of just the size. That garage was also pretty crazy, and just a bunch of little features that you don't see on a lot of houses.
I love it. Well, definitely we'll check them out and put it out there.
Yeah,
Now,
definitely.
what's the number one thing that you're seeing coming and becoming more viral these days?
More things I'm seeing, like in terms
Yeah, things
of
that you're doing or that you're seeing, and that this is exactly what's trending right now for virality.
right. I would say for me, what's trending the most is just getting those nice, slow, still shots with music that uh, obviously it's viral music, but it's music that also makes you feel like you're there in a way. It's
Hmm.
like kind of like calming like music. I feel like those do really good and not making the video super long either. A lot of mine are shorter, but that's what's worked for me. There's some viral content that's a lot longer, but just getting that shot that makes sense, that's still, it's not wobbly, it's showcasing different angles of the house. I feel like those always do the best because they're very shareable. It's a lot of goals of people, so that's also a reason why we're the luxury. It's it gets shared a lot because that's what people want one day, and then with all those shares, it's obviously going to hit people that can actually have that now. So that's a good thing about those luxury posts.
Hmm.
It kind of hits two sides of the market. The people that want it one day, and it's like a dream goal, and then with X amount of shares, 100,000 shares, it's going to hit people that actually
Of course.
can have that now
Hmm.
or can have that. So I think that's what's working best right now is just finding the shots that actually make sense, not overdoing too much in a video and just keeping it nice and simple.
I love that. That's very good. And as you said, getting your phone, gimbal, creating those nice slow motion shots. You don't even need to hire a videographer. You just need to get started. And I feel
Right.
that right now, with what we're living in this new stage with technology, it's a new era. People can expedite their business or elevate their brand, not instantly, but pretty quick, because now you're having free access to put content out there and reach the masses or reach the audience that you want to reach.
Right.
So that's very important.
Yeah.
Now, for anybody that is interested in Vegas in general, for the luxury market, which one is your favorite neighborhood?
Personally, I mean, there's a big debate here on two areas. It's either the Summerlin or Henderson area of what's the best when it comes to luxury. They're two different parts of town. They get two different views of the
Hmm.
strip. But if I had to pick one personally, I love the Henderson area and specifically McDonald Highlands, just because it's almost like the Hollywood Hills here in Vegas. You have, the roads that curve up the side of the mountain. The luxury there is a bit more modern, clean, minimalistic. You get you're higher up on the mountain and you get a view of the sphere on the strip. So personally, if I I had to pick a neighborhood to live in, I would live there just because of the amount of luxury. They're building the new Four Seasons residency there and a lot of brand new luxury. So that's what I would pick personally.
I love that. And like Vegas always have been seen as these party place where everybody goes to
Yeah.
casinos and everything. But when I was going there as a younger kid, I went in there for the first time thinking that's exactly what I was gonna see. And I was a tennis player, went in there and
Oh,
I
nice.
saw how big it was and how many other things were going on and how amazing it was to live as
Right.
a residential area. So there's so many neighborhoods and so many things to do. So what is your particularly most appealing thing to do while you're in Vegas? Like why somebody would like to go to
Mm.
Vegas?
I mean, most of the time, like I said, people come here to party for the most part. So obviously, if you're visiting Vegas, you're probably going to be on the Strip doing something down there. So I guess it just depends what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for the party scene coming here, obviously there's certain clubs and places to go to downtown. If you're going the more local approach, it just kind of I guess depends on the type of person you are because there's local casinos that you could go to where it's more relaxing for the pool. But I mean, if I had to pick something, it's kind of hard to say because there's so much to do here. Um,
It's it,
I
it's
guess
wild.
yeah, I guess it depends like what events are going on and stuff too. I mean, we're the home of the UFC too, so a lot of the fights are here. So I mean, personally, that's something that I enjoy. So if I was visiting here on like a Saturday when the fights are going on, I would maybe, try to grab tickets to go down there or check out the Win if you're down on the Strip for a couple of restaurants. They have good nightlife there. So, I mean, there's just so many different options.
You know what I like about Vegas, because I go a lot, right?
Right.
And for conferences, events, or any sorts of things. But anytime that you're there, it's like a playground. You can really dream about anything, and they probably have it there. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
yeah.
spectacular. And then you have the Grand Canyon close by. But when it comes to residential aspect of living there, it's pretty cool because, as you said, you can have the most incredible, safe living and at the same time the most entertaining and fun things to do. So I think that Vegas, as you mentioned, and you're probably seeing it, it has been evolving over the years tremendously.
Right.
So where do you foresee Vegas being in the next few years?
I mean, I think it's going to be the one of the new hot spots in the country. I mean, obviously Miami is one of those too, but there's a lot of stuff coming to Vegas that we didn't have before. Like Hollywood is bringing their studios here. Warren Bros. Just announced they're building studios here. We're going to get a basketball, baseball team. We already have UFC. We're supposed to get a couple other things too. Obviously, football and hockey are already pretty big. So, I mean, it's already been the center of entertainment in the past, but I feel like it's going to be elevated now on another level where people have more of like the teams here and stuff, where there's going to be more of a fan base for things here. Whereas
Hmm.
before, you kind of were just in and out. Now I feel like there's going to be more of a reason to stay because your favorite team or this is going to be here. So that's kind of where I see it going into the future. Is just adding so much entertainment, sports, more than ever before, which is
Hmm.
obviously going to be good for, the housing market too in the
Yeah.
future because everyone's going to want to come here. It's going to be more demands. People that already own are going to have more of that equity built. So I think there's a lot of good things to come, and the market here has been pretty bulletproof. So I don't see it, slowing down.
Well, that's exciting, and we'll definitely look forward to seeing that growth. And for anybody that is looking to find their next dream home, here you had your man.
Yeah.
Now, question that I always ask everybody, what is luxury to you?
Luxury. So I think luxury is an experience you got to give your clients. It's not necessarily a price point. Obviously, luxury does have some type of price point after a certain point, depending on, the finishes, how it was built, who built it. I feel like that makes it luxury too, because you can't just have granite countertops and a kitchen and consider that, a luxury kitchen. I think there's more depth that goes into it in terms of, architectural design, maybe who built it, where it's built. Is it exclusive? I feel like that's also a thing of luxury. If not a lot of people have something, that's also considered luxury. Otherwise, if everyone had it, it wouldn't be so named luxury. But as an agent, I think luxury is an experience you give a client too, because we're not always working in that higher price point. Obviously, we help all price points. So it's got to be a delivery that you give someone too in the experience in purchasing their home, no matter what it is. So in terms of luxury, it's going to be how you treat a client, but when it comes to the build, obviously depends on the exclusivity to the product.
Hmm. I love that. That's a great explanation. So
Thank you.
last question for you, Nicholas. If you had to tell your younger self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Probably would be, man, that's a good question. I would say keep being consistent. Don't give up. If bad things happen, that's probably a good thing because you're doing something right to mess up, and that's where the growth happens, whether it's in business or life. So I mean, don't get beat up over the hard times because that means it's just got to elevate from there. I think that's a good piece of advice because a lot of people get beat up if market's slow or numbers aren't good, but that's usually where the most growth happens, whether it's overall in life or just in business. So if you could overcome that and kind of see that end goal, I think you'll be well off.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate your time. For those that are interested to connecting with you, what's the best way to do it?
Instagram is usually the best. My page here, YouTube as well. You can find me on there. And yeah, just shoot me a DM and then we can coordinate from there.
Love it. Well, keep on crushing it. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing more of your content. And whenever you
Absolutely.
come to Miami, let us know. And look, we
Yeah,
said it right there. Collaboration is the name of the game. So I look forward to
absolutely.
collaborating with you and
Let's
finding
do
ways
it.
how we can keep on elevating each other.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. Whenever you're in Vegas again, let's meet up. Let's do something like you said. Collaborating is key. So let's make it happen.